second generation Audi R8 has become fiercer and more focused in this improved form, with enhanced versions of a 5.2 litre V10 engine that now provides near supercar levels of performance. There are dynamic changes along with styling updates, and as before, you'll choose between coupe and open-top Spider variants. Plus, of course, there's Quattro four-wheel drive that makes this a super sports car for all seasons and all reasons.
Time to drive it. Now, that engine comes mated to a 7-speed S-tronic automatic transmission. As before, it's offered in 2 states of tune. There's now 570 PS in its standard guise, or 620 PS if you go for the V10 performance variant that we're trying here. A car that in coupe form is capable of 62 miles an hour from rest in just 3.1 seconds on the way to 205 miles an hour. Stopping power is equally ferocious, particularly if you have the ceramic brakes of this performance version. They're aided here by tweaks to the ESC system. Unlike most of its rivals, the R8 offers 4-wheel drive, a Quattro setup able to flash 100% of power to either axle instantly on demand, and as a result, traction levels are astonishingly high. The car feels agile too, aided by a torque vectoring system, although a slight vagueness in the steering to some extent masks the small improvements made to the suspension and to the steering of this revised model. As usual with Audi, there's a drive select driving dynamic system, so you can tweak throttle response, steering feel, stability control thresholds and gear shift timings to suit the kind of progress that you want to make. It includes a special performance mode on this top version with graphics delivered via the customizable screen of the brilliant Audi Virtual Cockpit, which replaces the conventional instrument dials. The drive select setup can control the suspension too, if, as we would suggest, you find the extra for the Audi magnetic ride system. On commuting journeys, there is a level of urban manoeuvrability that really belies the relatively low seating position, and this second generation design's considerable width, all from a super sports model that has to still, when it's called upon, be able to deliver brutal performance, tremendous traction and quite astonishing agility. It is pricey to run, of course. Combined fuel economy for this V10 performance version is WLTP rated at a maximum of just 21.4 mpg with an NEDC CO2 figure of 298 grams per kilometre. But then you'd expect to have to pay for your pleasures. If you happen to be familiar with the original version of this Mark II R8, you'll immediately notice the changes that Audi has made as part of the mid-term refresh. The single-frame radiator grille has a wider, flatter line. The corner air inlets have been restyled. There's a revised front splitter, and these 3 flat slits under the leading edge of the bonnet are supposed to be reminiscent of the iconic 80s Audi Quattro model. In short, you would perhaps be more likely to notice an R8 now, although not necessarily for the right reasons. Getting in isn't as easy as it would be in a 911. Still, it is possible to enter in a more graceful manner than is the case with most models of this kind. And once inside, where there are almost no changes of the original version of this Mark II Type 4S model, you're introduced to what Audi calls a luxury-level racing atmosphere. As usual with any R8, one of the cockpit's key distinguishing features is what the stylists call the monoposto, a stylised large arc that encircles the driver's area of the cockpit, starting at the door and ending in the centre tunnel. Another distinctive touch lies with Ingolstadt's decision to dispense with a conventional centre dash screen and to package all the infotainment functionality into this 12.3-inch virtual cockpit instrument binnacle display, which completely replaces the usual set of conventional dials. What else? Well, the driving position is almost faultless. It positions you a little higher than you would be usually in a mid-engined super sports car, and you enjoy particularly supportive Napa leather-trimmed seats, either the sports-style chairs of the standard model or these race-ready bucket seats on this performance variant. And beyond that, well, were we to be graduating into this car from a 911, we'd miss the little rear seats that Porsche gives you there. They're so useful for chucking a jacket or a designer shopping bag onto. Now, Audi's tried to compensate by providing a 226-litre space behind the seats that it claims is large enough to accommodate a golf bag. You're certainly not going to fit anything like a golf bag in the boot. Given that huge engine display out back, the luggage bay, as in the 911, is at the front. At 112 litres in size, it's not very big at all. The appeal of this Type 4S second generation R8 has a lot to do with its engine. So it's just as well for Audi that the 5.2 litre V10 is such a glorious power plant. It reminds you that normal aspiration produces a level of aural entertainment that a turbo unit can never quite match. Audi has clearly benchmarked key competitors and blended Latin exclusivity with Teutonic day-to-day usability, creating a finished product that's difficult to beat if you want a car of this kind that you could drive every day. It's a very Audi supercar, and there is nothing quite like it.